And we're back here at Talk About Unity, and I am really excited because we've got a repeat visit by our guest today, Miss Martha Rogers. She did so good last time, and we thought we'd have her back immediately because last time we talked about this team she's part of, about the house concept. But today we wanted to bring about specifically about what her expertise is in, and it is in this thing that we call civility. So I want to welcome to the show Miss Martha Rogers. Outstanding.
Thank you so much, Carlin. Maybe I'm a repeat guest because you have such a strong sense of civility. You're being kind.
That's good. All right. So that's what civility is. So that's the show. All right. Thank you, folks, for being here. Kindness. All right. That's good. All right. But hey, but okay. So we're talking about unity. You talk about civility, which you're the civility warrior. You talk about civility. What is that connection there? Civility and unity. How do those things connect?
Well, civility is very important to unity. In fact, I'd like to make a very bold statement. Are you ready?
I'm ready for it.
Without civility, there will be no unity.
Okay.
Because without civility, using the mindset that helps people to connect with each other, to respect and treat each other with honor, we'll never be able to come together in a way that creates unity. So you are using civility skills and tools, and maybe you don't even realize it, because you are creating unity every day.
Wow. And so, yeah, and and the amazing thing is, so you've got civility, and you need civility to create unity. And then I'm actually saying that we need unity to create solutions. And so like we got this chain thing happening that begins with civility, because if we don't have civility, then there's so much stuff that's not happening that can't happen to start this whole thing down the road where we have solutions and we solve problems and things like that. So
right.
Wow.
There's nothing about civility in and of itself that's going to make the world go round. But civility is about how we treat other people. It's about using respect and honor to treat other people in such a way that encourages them to know their own worth, to see their own greatness. And this is how we come together and communicate better, build stronger relationships, and this is how we come up with solutions.
And it's civility. And so in the intro, you talked about me showing kindness, and that's very civil. So what is a basic definition of civility? What would be, if I said, so what is civility? Would there be more words and more to the definition than simply saying it's kindness?
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Okay, so
yes.
what would that be?
In fact, I'm collecting definitions of civility.
Okay.
Everybody has their own definition, and so it's kind of fun. I've got an ongoing collection of definitions of civility, but my basic definition is civility is the art of caring about others. It is valuing your individual uniqueness, valuing the gift that you have to bring to the world, and even appreciating our differences and not being afraid to embrace our differences, because every person has their own perspective on life. Every person has their history, right? Their own story. And we need to come together and value those different perspectives, because it helps us to see the big picture, and it helps us to create those solutions and solve problems.
Okay, so when you say it's the art of caring about others, okay, so a lot of artists have a lot of different ways that they paint art. So if it's an art, then that means that there can be a lot of different ways that this manifests itself. So how wide is that? How wide is that? How narrow is that? When you say an art, it's an art, but it's only in this specific area. This is the way it's done. Or is it an art? Man, you can be civil in a lot of ways.
Well, civility is how you apply. It's the art of how you apply civility to your own life. Because what's important is that each person take personal responsibility to use civility in their own arena, in their family, in their workplace, in the community, and so it's as varied as each person's personality. But there are, it's an art and it's a science. There are specific skills and tools that help us to apply civility to our daily life. Very simple tools. It starts with learning to listen and listening to understand instead of just getting my opinion out there all the time, but listening to understand. And this helps people to connect because you're showing value to that person when you show that you want to listen to them. So it's a science and it's an art. And it's music, it's about math, it's about everything. So the art is how you apply civility in your specific arenas.
So is that an inside job or an outside job? Because it sounds like you're saying these are qualities or things that I need to make as part of who I am. But is it the way that I interact with others? And so is it inside, or is it the big picture is it's all of that? It's inside transferring to outside?
That's a really good question. I love that question because it's both. I mean, civility has to bear fruit to
be civility.
Right, to help people to connect. But it begins inside. And I like to look at the heart of the matter in everything. In civility training, we teach what the civility mindset is, but it's not just knowing about civility. To really change how you treat other people and how you live your life, it has to touch your heart. And so it definitely begins, it's most effective when it begins internal, because that's what you have control over. I don't have control over how you treat me, but I have control over how I treat you.
That's great.
How I see you, how I think about you, and how I communicate to you.
That's great. That is really great, because that's one of the things I talk to people about, because I hear so much out in the public sector today where people are saying, yeah, but this person is so bad or whatever. Yeah, but you don't have to be bad to them. You know, right. Regardless of how a person is, you don't have to be that way to them because of what they are. You know, now, all right, so I've gotten a little bit ahead of myself, because what I wanted to do was talk about how we connected. And I wanted to talk about how I thought civility, when I first met you, you know, we were at this forum, this seminar, this workshop thing, and we had the table set up, and I set up right next to this lady who had this table with this book called the World of Shapes. All right. And one of the subtitles is what really captivated me, because the subtitle said, Connecting with Civility. And those are the words that I'd been using in my unity movement, talking about how we need to be civil and how we needed to connect. And so when I saw those two words put together, connecting with civility, I went, that's amazing. So then I took your book and I looked at it, and you said it's a children's book. And I went, it's not a children's book. This is an adult book, because of the concepts and because what you present there. And so that's what we want to do. We want to talk about some of the things that tell us about how you got to this book and how you got to creating that. Because I think it's this adult's book that you think is a children's book and everything.
Actually, I think it's an adult book too.
Okay.
But, you know, it kind of looks like a children's book. And so it started partially with my grandson. He was about 5 at the time. He's now 10. And I wanted to do something to communicate a message to his generation. So how it even started before that was, it's really a fun story to me, because I heard Dr. Clyde Rivers speak. He's on the house crew.
Oh, good.
So you know him. But several years ago, I heard him speak at a Golden Rule Ambassador award ceremony. And I actually got a Golden Rule Ambassador Award, and a bunch of us were going, why are we getting these awards? But Dr. Rivers has the gift of seeing the greatness in people. And so he talked about using your gift to better the world. And he made this statement that was so astounding to me. He said, every person ever born has a gift. And if one person dies without sharing their gift, we all lose out.
That's really good.
I just went, wow, the value of every person in that statement. It just blew me away. And I wanted to value people like that. I always considered myself somebody that treated people kind and valued people, but I didn't think about, he talks about the 7.8 billion people in the world, and every person has a gift. And so I signed up for coaching with Dr. Rivers, and he encouraged me to go to Golden Rule Civility training, which was several years ago. And when I did that pilot training, I just thought, I hadn't even heard the word civility. Of course, I knew what the Golden Rule was, but I thought, this is a really cool concept. And so I did some training to become a civility trainer. And in that training, we were asked to give a 10-minute presentation, and my topic was, what is Golden Rule Civility and why is it important? And I was just beginning to learn about civility, but I had this message on my heart that I wanted to take to kids. And so I had heard, I started with stories about kids that I knew who had experienced being made fun of, being bullied, and one teen even took her life because her friends turned on her. And so I thought, this is terrible. And so I wanted an illustration of how to explain that every person is valuable and each person is different and unique, but being different is a good thing. And so I came up with the world of shapes. And in the world of shapes is a place where everything is as it should be, where it's the land of goodness and greatness. It's where every shape and every character is unique and valuable and has its own purpose.
Wow. Okay. So that's a ton. All right. So the world of shapes, because the world of shapes sounds like it's got a lot of real lessons in it, a lot of deep lessons, because you've got these different shapes, but evidently these shapes are coexisting and they've learned this, I guess, this message of civility. But another part of that, which is the reason we met, was because I was there with the race, whatever. And so that sounds like it's just as easily fits the race, because it's saying you value people and you value other differences. And so it seems to work along a whole long spectrum of things.
If every person valued every other person as a valuable human being with a gift to offer the world, would there be racial issues?
Yeah, there wouldn't be.
It's really very simple. So you can go very simple or you can go very deep with this.
It's all about civility. All right, so let's keep talking about then. All right, so we talked about it being an art. We talked about how it's like a science. So if it's a science, then then of course there are the tools. And so what are the tools of civility? What do you use as the tools in civility?
Well, there's skills and there's tools, and the very first skill is value. Okay. It all has to do with, what do you value? What or whom? And so in the book, it starts with, what are the most valuable things in this world? And of course, I have an answer in the book for kids, but let's think about, what do we really value? How do we show that we value something or someone?
And before you get started, the really great artwork, though. I like that artwork that's, they've seen it now on the screen. That's really great artwork. And so shout out for you on that. And while it does look like a kid's book, the concepts are really deep once again. So, all right, so continue on about, so the first one was what do we value? So, and then what's after that?
So value, and then there's perspective. Perspective is huge. And we all have a perspective, and it's something that we are in control of. We use our perspective daily without thinking about it, but in civility training, we talk about how to expand your perspective and have your perspective based on choices, on values and principles that you have, that every person is valuable, every person is unique, every person is important. And so when I look at you, I see you as a valuable human being with a specific gift, a specific purpose. And so you can consciously train yourself to have a positive perspective of people. And so then with perspective, then you pick up the tools of listening, which is just an act of caring. Mm-hmm. When I began to study civility, I thought, okay, I'm going to practice this first in my marriage, and it
had to be an adventure.
If I can apply this to my marriage, all the rest is a piece of cake. So, because that's where we, the most intimate relationships in our life, that's where the nitty-gritty heart stuff is, right? Mm-hmm. So I realized that I hadn't always been a good listener, that I wanted to focus on what I wanted Gary to hear from me. I wanted to explain how I felt, how my perspective, but when you focus on the other person's perspective and listen to them, listen to understand, then it changes the dynamics of relationships, and it really helps you to communicate in a way that you can work through problems, because every relationship has issues, has challenges, and conflict, right?
Yes.
Or
definitely.
You probably don't have that.
Well, so we got value, we got perspective, and we got listening. Now, amazingly, even in our unity last week, on last week's show, we did the principles of unity, and listen, of course, is the first one. So there's an intersection there, and so we do understand the value there. And so these are tools that definitely put us in the context of being able to be civil, And right. So now, what I want to ask you before we're going to go to break here in a minute or so, but I want to ask you, and we can answer it on the other side of the break as you think about it. So I've talked about how we've got listen as one of the key things here, and I talked about how listen is one of the keys in our principles of unity. Is there an overlap between civility and some of the, like you talked about unity before? Is there an overlap, or is it like we talked about, is that this thing that has to happen before that? Or are there some things, because are some people practicing one of these things, not practicing the other, and will that be bad for them? Will that not produce the results they need? Or can you grasp this wholly, separately, and still achieve the success that you want? So we talked about how you need civility to get to the unity in this. So what if people are doing one or the other? How do we do that? And so you want to answer it now, or you want to get on the other side of the break? Because maybe I didn't ask that well, and maybe you need to clear that out, and how much time is that going to take you? Because we need to go to break. So just we'll get that clear, and okay. I'll make sure you're clear during the break, okay. Exactly what I was asking. And so we'll go to break, and after that we'll come back and we'll figure out unity, civility, and how they work together as we continue on Talk About Unity. We'll be back. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge.
I'm trying not to lose my head.
Hey, this is the Talk About Unity show where I bring the talk.
And I bring the unity.
And together we talk about unity. Unity is what matters.
Come on.
And right now in our country, that's what we've got to do. So we do that here at Talk About Unity on the Edge Radio Network. Be with us every week.
It's going to be awesome. It always is. And I tell you what, the more we seek first to understand, then be understood, we make progress.
And we like to do that. And that's why everybody's on the brink. We love what we do at Edge Radio because everybody's on the edge. We bring them back from the edge and we bring the unity. So we're just Glad to Edge Radio Network every Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Talk about unity, because here at Edge Radio Network, truth still matters. We're back here to talk about unity, and we're here with the civility warrior, Miss Martha J. Rogers. And I asked her a question, and I cleared it up during the break, so now we know what she's supposed to answer. And so my question really was, unity and civility, are they two separate silos, or do they merge? And like a Venn diagram, is there something that's in the middle there? So Martha, tell us about how that works.
Well, I think they go together, because without treating people with respect and honor, you can't connect with people, which brings unity. So, but it's an ongoing process. You know, it's a journey in life of growing and valuing other people. I'm in a huge process, because the more I study about civility, the more I realize that I had to learn about how to truly value other people and have that perspective that every person is valuable. And so in civility training, I teach civility skills and tools to help people to identify if they'll be using some of them already, and some of them they're not using so good. So everybody has to apply it to themselves. And like I said, it's a matter of the heart, and every heart is unique.
So is that overlap that we were talking about in the diagram, is that the ultimate, or is it you really need to grasp all of this civility stuff in order to get to unity?
Well, you don't necessarily have to grasp all this civility stuff. Some people have the gift already of valuing other people, and their perspective is very positive and beneficial of other people. And but civility training can help people to identify where are they deficient in civility skills. And here's a good example. Growing in civility is like planting the seed. Sowing seeds, you can choose to sow seeds of civility every day in any relationship that you are in. And when you see the fruit of strong relationships, and conflict is not a negative fruit, it's just a fact of life. But how you deal with the conflict and work through those challenges in a relationship, that is the fruit. Am I going to, when Gary and I are clashing, am I going to, in my mind, judge him and go, well, he's just blank. and I did this for a lot of years. I wanted to blame him for my misery, and so we disconnected. And so that produces bad fruit. So look at the fruit in your life, and you may have different fruit in different relationships, but listening to somebody shows value. You know, we all know that love makes the world go round, right? And intimate relationship is about love. But what does love look like? It looks like valuing that person, valuing what they have to say, what they're feeling. Not that yours isn't important, because it's about valuing yourself also. But not judging that person, asking questions so that you understand what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and you come to a better place of connection, a stronger connection.
Connecting with civility and connection. And one of the things you said there is that I then don't hold other people, I don't give people the power to determine how I feel, and so there's that thing. And like you were saying, you held Gary responsible for the way that you were interacting with him. So there's a sense of empowerment in this thing that you're talking about, civility. Is
Definitely.
That one of the core things about civility? Is that what that does for you?
It does, definitely. And I see every person as a powerful, sovereign being. It's how to use that power that you've been given. You can use that power to lift others up, to sow seeds of civility, or you can use your thoughts and your words to tear people down and to bring division.
Yeah, because one of the things you hear often, and especially in the times we're in our country here with so much division and strife, is that people feel like they don't have any power. They feel like they're being oppressed, and they don't feel like they don't have any power. And I think the point that you're making is that because we look externally for power rather than realizing the internal power that we have, because that internal power comes from those things such as civility and all the things that it entails that happen inside of us.
That is so good. That is so good. Another civility skill is personal responsibility. Personal responsibility, I take full responsibility for my heart, my thoughts, my feelings, my words, and my actions. And I don't blame them on any other person. The boss at work, the kid at school that's bullying my child. I teach my child how to value himself and how to value that person, and how do they need to respond when somebody bullies them. And sometimes it's time to call the teacher in, call the principal in, because bullies need to be dealt with. But bullies don't bully people unless you believe that you're weak. And that you don't deserve to be treated with value and respect. So teach your children to take full responsibility for yourself.
Yeah, and so that full responsibility then comes from a position of strength. So as they build them up, then it's kind of like, if I go in the gym, I can lift that because I know I can lift that. I'm strong enough to lift that, and I feel like I can. But when I don't feel like I can lift it, then I'm going to look outside and blame other circumstances for why I can't lift that.
Exactly.
Why I can't do that.
Exactly. So
that's very good. That's cool. That's now. All right. So let's get to some more of the visuals on some of your book, because I like I said, I love the adult book. All right, I love the adult book, and so we put up one slide, and so we've got some other ones, and so if you could step through, and you could step through in order if you want to, and just hit on each one of them.
Okay.
And so we got, I think, more examples of what we mean in civility, and at the same time they understand what's in the book. They're actually getting a free online version of the book, Land of Shapes, World of Shapes. What is it, Land of Shapes? Why don't we say Land of Shapes, World of Shapes?
World of Shapes.
It's World of Shapes. I always say Land of Shapes.
That's okay. You can say whatever you want.
Okay, all right. But I got the concept.
You got the concept.
It's a concept.
That's what's
a
important.
Bunch of shapes, and they're all different, and they different colors and stuff. Erase race. All right.
Exactly. It applies to everything.
So yeah,
in
all right.
every arena of life. So
all right, go ahead.
Of all the things in this world, and
wait. You got to go. Show which one are we on? 3?
Page
which
3.
One, page 3. And so he's got him now. Okay, so he's showing that. Okay, go ahead.
So I wanted children to think about, and adults, of all the things in the world, what is the most valuable to you? Okay. And, of course, the answer is page 4.
Page 4, next one. All right.
You are the most valuable resource in this world. You and you and you and you.
Wow.
I want kids to know that they are valuable. They're important. And this is what I got from Dr. Rivers.
This is 5.
Page 5.
Yes, page 5. All right, he's there. Oh, he's
every person born into this world.
He's in the mix. I'm going to get Vince on our show one day.
He has a gift, he has a gift. Thank you for your gift. Every person born into this world is a gift to this world. If any one person doesn't share their gift, we are all missing out.
That's good. Good. I love the art. The artwork is really cool.
The illustrator, Andy Szabo, what a gift. I was so excited when I found him.
Now, okay, and I didn't cover this, but because you got and I guess this would have been more near the end of the show, but because you got another book coming out, right?
Yeah.
And you do have the same illustrator?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll always use Andy.
Okay, all right. Stuck on Andy.
So page 6, what makes this world great? Because really that's the goal, right? Is to make our world a better place, to bring out the greatness that's in the world. What makes life in this world fun, interesting, productive, exciting? Kids love fun, kids love exciting, and we need to keep that kid heart alive in us, right? I see that in you, Carlin, a little bit about you.
Yeah, a lot of people call me a kid. And then some of them just say you're immature.
No.
So whatever,
No.
you know, however that works.
No, I say you're very mature.
Okay.
So this is what makes our world great. Page 7. You and you and you together. Sharing your gifts and talents, sharing your knowledge, sharing your personalities, sharing the greatness of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, life is about connecting. It is about connections between 2 or more people, each of whom are completely unique. And to all our people out there, I want you to know that means you are a one of a kind, special made, different from all the rest, you.
Now, see, when you say that, all right, you can go off that. Come back to us so we can see us as we talk here. All right, so you got that, Vince. You take down the slide. All right, so we can talk, because I want to talk about that one, because when you talk about, and I love the way that you present that, because you break into your storybook telling mom when you started saying that, you and you. But this is really huge, and I think, and that's why I say adult concepts about the importance of understanding other people's gifts and talents and then valuing that. There's some things that happened in the news this past week where at Virginia Military Institute, which I happen to have a student there, and that's why I would pay attention to that kind of thing, where they've had the superintendent who's been there for 17 years or whatever. Some things happened among the cadets, and then they say it was some racist occurrences. And this guy's been there 17 years, and he just resigned and said he's out of there. And I went, you know, you don't let bad things happen and just abandon it. What's been going on all this time? You know, did you have an environment where there was no value placed in all of the people there? And this is what I covered in the beginning of the show, where we talked about systemic racism. I think if you had been an advisor to the superintendent, you know, and he understood the civility concept, there's no way that there would have been an environment at that school where this could have happened.
Right.
Because you would have been saying, you've got to value, or you've been talking about these principles of civilities and how we are sharing our different gifts and talents together, and this is what makes us an institution that is whole. And I think all the things that you're talking about here as you go through this, yeah, it sounds like a very childish thing, you know, and you can make this a very delightful for kids to understand that, and we definitely need to do that so that we train them up,
right?
So that they
can make a difference in the world.
They'll be superintendents at the academy one day, and
exactly.
So that will be different because they didn't have, you know, that guy didn't have Martha, and so all these kids are getting Martha, and so it'll be great. So that's great. Okay, so I just want to make that point because I think that's so profound.
It's so simple.
It's so simple that it's profound.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm going. That's why I keep you close, because when I go out doing Unity, this is what we got to do. All right. So let's go. All right. Go. You can continue. All right. Let's go to the next one.
So is different being a good thing or a bad thing? So
which one are you on?
Page 8.
8.
So the world of shapes is the explanation of the value of differences. Once upon a time, there was the world of shapes. There was the country of triangle, filled with green apple A's. There was the country of square, filled with beautiful blue B's. Next page. There was the country of circle, filled with cherry red C's. And the
go get your kids. It's family hour. We get the book reading.
And the country of rectangle, filled with dark brown D's. So you can leave it right there. So all the A's were happy and getting along in life because they were all alike. The B's were all alike. The C's were all alike. And the D's in the country of rectangle were all alike. But then one day the B's wake up and they go, this is kind of boring. And the D's wake up and they go, ooh, this is downright depressing. And the C's are feeling creepy. And you remember what the A's are feeling? They are apoplectic.
Whoa, whoa.
Angry.
I know you didn't use that in the book, apoplectic.
Yeah.
You told the kid, this is a kid's book, apoplectic.
There's a lot you can learn in the world of shapes. Yes, a lot you can learn here.
Wow.
So what they do is A, B, C, and D get together. They go on a
They
journey.
talked about unity, and they got together and they had to talk about unity. They had Vince doing the video.
They connected through civility to create unity, and they went to all the other countries of shapes, and to find out what happened, look for the book.
Oh, okay.
This is what it looks like.
She put out the teaser.
Living in the world of shapes, connecting through civility.
Outstanding. That's outstanding. Look at that. And that subtitle, as you see on the screen there, talking about connecting through civility. That's it. I mean, and so you see that you've got this civility thing that is a tool connecting for connection. So it's almost like we said at the beginning, if you want to get to unity, if you want to get to this connection that we're going to need to solve the problems in our country, then we're going to need this civility. And so how much do people need to be trained in this? Or can they look through this book and be totally trained in civility? What is the level of investment people have to make if they really want to become civility warriors?
Well, everything that you need to live a great life, you can find in this book. But sometimes we don't always see it. And so we have civility training. And so civility training is really good to help people to learn those civility skills and tools and not just know about them, but we teach how to apply them. We practice them and help people to see how, I mean, it's a very simple thing, but it's a very complex process of how I look at people and I sum them up and I categorize them and I judge them. You don't have to do that. That might be a human tendency, but we don't have to do that. We can choose to sow seeds of civility and choose to look at people with value, and then we treat them with respect and honor.
Where is there? Is there somewhere where people can get access to formal training in this now? I mean, is there?
Yes.
Where can they do that?
Well, they can keep up with what I'm doing on my website, championsofcivility.com. And
championsofcivility.com. Go there.
Yes. So, and learn how to become a champion of civility. And a lot of people are already champions in their life. Most people can learn more about how to apply the civility mindset and to have the heart of civility. And a friend of mine and I are planning a one-day workshop, which we are planning to do in January. And she lives...
Is that in person?
Yes, in person,
okay.
Hopefully, hopefully, because I think there's so much, the dynamics are so awesome when we're together. And she lives in, guess where? The great state of Charleston. She lives in Charleston. So
Charleston, which state though? There's Charleston, West Virginia. There's a Charleston, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
She's in South Carolina.
Okay.
So we're going to start there, and then we're going to bring it to the Houston area. And I'm also creating workshops for parents on how to not just teach their kids about the civility attitudes, but to live them themselves so that they're leading by example.
Wow. So you got a full plate, because in addition to doing all those things, you're also building the house.
Right.
So she's part of a team that I'm a part of where we're coming up with this house concept. And so lots of work going on. And so you heard her talk about civility training and where you can get that. If you don't do anything else, you can get the civility training by going online and looking up Martha Rogers and Living in the World of Shapes, so that you can get that book, because I'm telling you, you might think that's a simple book. If nothing else, if you got kids, grandkids, get it for them, and then you learn as well, because it is the ultimate, I think, in civility training. Very valuable. So I'm just so happy to have had Martha Rogers here today in the studio. It was a great time. Remember, the book is Living in the World of Shapes. Remember, the key is civility, and we're going to need civility so that we can keep doing this thing that we call unity. And that's what we brought to you today on Talk About Unity. I want to thank our man over there, Vince, for adapting on the fly, whatever. And Martha's here. So, Martha, any fine words you want to give us as we close out today?
Well, I'll just mention briefly, my next book, which is being illustrated right now by Andy Szabo, is called Finding Joy in the World of Shapes. This is something that...
It's the sequel.
Well, there's going to be a lot of trips into the world of shapes, but this is visiting the country of trapezoid filled with jolly red jays, and the country of oval filled with obvious O's, and the country of cordiform filled with Y's. And so the little people go to the world of shapes to find answers for their friends, for their funky moods. We have a lot of funky moods going on right now, right?
Right.
So stress, boredom, depression, it addresses those issues. So finding joy in the world of shapes.
Finding joy in the world of shapes. I'm bringing my grandkids to Martha's house. All right. All right. Thank you all for being with us this week on Talk About Unity. Our guest was Martha Rogers, and be with us again next week as we talk about unity.
Thanks so much.